So hopefully my screen is visible. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me start the basic discussion of the syllabus and the course outcome for this subject today and introduction to this subject. So the subject is titled Computer-Based Financial System Analysis. Actually, it's an interdisciplinary subject. So what it is actually? It is a different name given to financial engineering. So most common name to this subject is financial engineering. However, to involve the computer in this subject, we have given the name like this, right? Otherwise, it is a financial engineering. Now, finance and engineering are two different disciplines, right? Finance generally taught in the management and commerce, and engineering we are learning as well as teaching, right? So what is financial engineering? Financial engineering is application of mathematics and statistics to the study of financial markets using this sophisticated computer science technique. So now in this you can say present scenario, this financial engineering is not only related to finance, right? It is application of maths and stat to the study of financial market, but using the computer science technique. What are that computer science technique? Like programming, then machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. So these are the computer science techniques, which are emerging computer science techniques, which we can apply now to this field, right? And the fundamental of this financial markets based on maths and stat. So we have to learn the fundamental maths and stat, something related to finance, and obviously we are convergent with the computer science techniques. So we apply this technique, means programming as well as some intelligence, to study this financial markets. So you can see it's an intersection of the three different disciplines: finance and economics, maths and stat, and the computer science. So the intersection is the financial engineering, and our subject is a different name given to this financial engineering. So I hope this will clear your doubt regarding what is this subject, why this title is given to this subject. All right. Let me come to syllabus. As usual, we divided it into 4 different units, and the first unit deals with the basic financial system and mathematics. So first unit exclusively deals with some mathematics, financial mathematics especially, means interest rate calculation, then risk and return. Then there are some models like called the capital asset pricing model, CAPAN, right? This is very common in the finance, which we'll learn, and what are the fundamental of it, how the maths and stat apply to it, and then how we apply our programming to model or to analyze this model. Okay. Portfolio performance analysis. There are different tools to analyze the portfolio. So what is portfolio? How it is framed, how it is analyzed. That is the goal in this unit. Okay. So that we'll learn. Now with each unit, we use the simulation software to understand various financial mathematical concepts. So for simulation, we always use MATLAB and toolboxes. So you need this software with you. So if you have your own source of MATLAB, please manage it. Otherwise, you can use the online MathWorks login that documents how to frame the online login in MATLAB. I have uploaded on this MS Team. You can go to the file section and you can download this Word document in which the whole procedure is given, how to create the login on MathWorks website and how to use the MATLAB online. But remember, it will be a 30-day trial. So after 30 days, you have to renew it or create a new login, right? So beware of it. Okay. Or if you have own source, you can use it. And in particularly in MATLAB, we are using some toolboxes like financial toolbox. So MATLAB has entire toolbox dedicated to the finance, which is called financial toolbox. So whatever math and stat we are learning in unit, the functions or library is inbuilt. No other software available which has all these things, all these functions embedded or all these functions inbuilt. That's why we go for MATLAB. You can use other tools, but in that case, the programming exercise will be tedious. You will not find this rich library, rich functions like MATLAB. MATLAB has sophisticated functions for all the financial analysis and management. So we are using this exclusively, this toolbox, financial toolbox. So if you are using your own source, ensure this toolbox is installed. Then for next unit, Unit 2, we study introduction to econometrics. So econometrics is a different than economics, right? Econometrics. What is econometrics? Can anybody tell me what is econometrics? If anybody has any idea. What is econometrics? I hope you have heard this word. Hello, any idea to anyone? What is econometrics? We'll learn that in detail in unit 2. So econometrics is related to the parameters of the economics, like GDP. GDP is one parameter of economy, right? Then can anybody give me any other example which is the parameter of the economy? There are macroeconomic parameter and microeconomic parameter. That is altogether a different thing. But in general, what are economic parameters? Examples of economic parameters. Can anybody tell me? One example I have given, GDP. Anybody has any other idea? This subject you have selected as elective, so you must know some ABCD of this subject. Any idea? I at least expect some answer, because now you are in 5th semester, so your knowledge must be there in the general field also, not only in your field.
अभी तो नहीं.
Can anybody give me example of parameter other than GDP?
FDI.
Hello, not audible.
Repo rate, reverse repo rate.
Yeah, so that repo rate, revised repo rate, that are different things. That are not economic parameter. It actually depends on economic parameter.
Recession rate.
It is depending on economic parameter. Inflation rate, right? Inflation rate. The repo rate and all these things depends on the inflation rate basically. It also depends on so many other things, but basic thing that determines the repo rate determined by RBI is the inflation rate. So inflation rate is one economic parameter. Other example is employment rate, right? IIP data. So these all are economic parameters, right? There are some macroeconomic parameters, some microeconomic parameter. We will not go in detail of the economics, okay? But we model it. So in econometrics, using this parameter, we create some model and analyze it using computer science technique, okay? So we see unit 2 for econometrics and financial data modeling. Again, we use the MATLAB with econometric toolbox. So MATLAB has special toolbox for this econometrics. So we use it. It's a very rich in library, very easy to model and forecast data, right? Using this toolbox, we can forecast the future economic activity. We can predict the future GDP rate. We can predict the future inflation based on the past data and some other information. So we study some models which can take the past information in it, and using some inference, they can predict the future value. Okay. We will not go exclusively for machine learning, right? We will go with very simple time series analysis and other simple techniques. You can extend it to sophisticated technique, but I will give you idea how to extend it. Then unit is fundamental and technical analysis. That is basically used in purchasing or buying or selling the stocks or some assets. So we see what are the fundamental. Fundamental means we analyze the stock by fundamental of the particular company. How to analyze the financial statements, right? Like balance sheet, cash flow statement. So that we see what are the fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Technical analysis used by traders, right? How the stock price is moving. Based on that, we can take a trade. So there are some technical indicators. You might have heard the chart patterns. Anybody heard the chart patterns? Stock chart patterns?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
on that chart pattern, we apply different parameters, and that parameters gives us indication whether the stock is overpriced, underpriced, right? So we see which are the models that gives us this indication. Okay. We are not interested in trading right here. We are interested in how these models are working and how sophisticated model can be developed. So we see some existing indicators and some oscillators, some chart patterns, right? And then we see how we can utilize this, or we can frame our own strategy by using our own parameters, right? So that is the goal of this unit number 3. And for that, again, we use this financial toolbox, econometric toolbox, and financial instrument toolbox. That is the another toolbox. So there are 3 different toolbox in the MATLAB. And 4th unit is related to financial derivative and hedging. Now this itself is a very big and complicated thing. You might have heard the derivatives, financial derivatives. Okay, derivative is a very common word which we are listening since our 11th standard, right? What is actually meaning of derivative? Can anybody tell me what is derivative? Because understanding is very important. What is derivative?
Something which is derived from its primary source.
Right. Something which is derived from other thing. Okay. So what is financial derivative? It itself is not an asset. It is derived asset. So you might have heard the futures and option trading. Have you heard this name? Futures and option?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how these prices are determined and how these prices are moving. This is a very complicated thing. We cannot learn in a one unit. It itself even not a one subject, but it itself requires a study of 1 year, right? So we just study an introduction to this financial derivative and hedging. Hedging is a principle to ensure that you will not end up in a loss. When you do any financial trading, you will not end up in a loss. So you take some trades which are of opposite nature, that is called hedging. So we study simple principle, right? And on that we study some mathematical model like Black-Scholes option model. We just study the introduction to it. Binomial model. These are all different models that are used in finding this option prices, how these option prices are moving. It's a very complicated thing and nobody yet has fully understand it, right? It is very difficult. And we also need to use some optimization techniques in all these units. So we always need the help of optimization toolbox. So remember, all these 4 toolbox will be there in MATLAB when you install the MATLAB. I hope there is absolute clarity regarding the syllabus. Now we see the lab experiments in MATLAB along with the theory. So we'll not conduct any separate lab session. So I will give you idea for the writing the programs along with the our theory lectures, right? And then I give you some task. Here the program itself is one kind of small project. Okay, say I will tell you initially I will give you very small program, but then I will give you some small project. I will tell you that go to the NSE site, find price of some stock, download the Excel file and then apply some model on it, do some time series analysis on it. So that kind of small activity or small project I will give it to you. It ultimately depends on your interest. Okay, how you apply your knowledge and how you take the interest. Okay, so this all experiments will be conducted along with the theory and we use the MATLAB and the corresponding toolboxes. Okay, so remember the lab experiments will be covered through the associated theory course. What are the course outcomes? So at the end of this course, you will able to recognize different financial system and analysis method. Yet, this may be something known to you, but not in a concrete manner. So we will see this in a concrete manner. Then interpret mathematical representation of simple financial products and system. So how to interpret mathematical representation of simple financial products, say stock or derivative, right? And system, say banking system or say interest rate system. So we interpret the mathematical representation of this kind of simple things. Then apply math and stat concept to present simple financial system. Analyze simple financial system using analysis tools like MATLAB and evaluate performance measure of the simple financial system. So which portfolio is better, which system perform better, that we can evaluate using some parameters. So that we see. And finally, we create model of simple financial system. This is very important. You will be able to create a very simple model of the simple system. So actually, it's a very similar to the system modeling, but here it is financial system modeling. Okay, let we start with unit number 1, where we study the basic financial system and mathematics. So in this unit, we see what are different financial markets, financial instruments. Then we see the time value of money. How the money value changes with respect to time, we all know. Will money value increase or decrease with respect to time? Can anybody tell me?
Decrease.
Decrease. Why? Why?
Decrease.
Why? We all know decrease. Why?
Inflation burden.
Inflation only? Only inflation? Yeah, inflation is the biggest reason, right? If inflation is zero, then may not be a rise in the price. But only inflation decrease the value of money, or something
Sir,
else?
the release of bonds can also affect the value of money. The release of bonds and commodities
Okay. Actually,
can
it
also,
is related to inflation itself. You just search on it. Which other thing will reduce the price of money? Okay. And which thing can increase the price of money? Can anybody tell me? Is there any chance of increasing price of money in future? May not. It's absolutely not possible. But is it possible?
Yes, sir.
In which condition it is possible?
Sir, if the trades between two foreign currency, sir, let's say that if I am buying more and more US dollar with trading Indian currency, then the price of US dollar will increase. And if vice versa, then the price of Indian currency will increase by foreign trades. So foreign trades can increase the value of money.
Right. Indian rupee decrease, then definitely if you're invested in dollar, then your price will increase.
Yes,
your investment price will increase.
By investing, we can basically, by investing, we can increase the value of money.
By investing, we are not increasing value of money actually. We are just competing with inflation.
Yes.
But suppose I have 1 rupee today and I keep it as it is with me. Is there any chance in future this 1 rupee will buy more commodity than today? Is there any chance under some circumstance?
Yes, there are. I will just destroy the supply.
Yeah. Okay. That is one thing. More supply. Yeah. If there is an inflation in supply, right, then the same commodity you can buy in a more quantity with the same rupee, right? That is possible. So basically it is a deflation. If overall supply will increase, let's say today there are source of petroleum, we find the say some more 50 we add the 50% more source to the petroleum, and the petroleum price, which is 100 rupees a petrol per liter, will now become 50 rupees, and suddenly all commodity price and all things will decrease, and there are also a supply of other things will also increase. Then it is possible. So deflation, right? This is in opposite to the inflation. It can increase the price of the money, but that is not there mostly, right? But it is possible. So we'll see time value of money. Then we see some annuity installment. How you frequently having come across this word installments, right? You are purchasing on installment, but actually what you are actually paying with the installment. They say that at this interest rate, but how this determine your effective installment value, that we see how to calculate it. Annuity means if you invest in some pension fund, they will pay you some annuity per month, they will pay some value. So how this is calculated? So, and will this annuity will be sufficient for you until the retirement or after retirement? We will see. Then Markowitz portfolio theory, and we'll say risk and return. How this risk and return determines the optimum portfolio, that we will see using the Markowitz portfolio theory. We'll see some model like capital asset pricing model, CAPM, and portfolio analysis. Okay, and portfolio analysis done using some measures that we will see: Sharpe's ratio, Trenor's ratio, Jensen's measures. So all these are measures that we will discuss in this unit. Okay, and related experiments are there which we do in MATLAB to calculate the time value of money, annuity, installment, then risk and return, and portfolio optimization and portfolio performance evaluation. We will go through a sequence. Reference books for this unit. There are so many books prescribed in your syllabus, but we basically stick to this first 2 books, right, for this unit. Now for every unit we have different textbook or reference book, because the every unit we have taken from different you can say topic or different domain, because we have to cover whole financial engineering in one subject. So we can cover only at an introductory level. So we have to take the book which is related to that particular domain, because in finance itself, there are so many subdomains. So for first unit, we basically go with this book entitled Introduction to Economics and Mathematics of Financial Market, which is published by MIT Press, very well known MIT Press, right? And the authors are Civetanik and Japetro, right? So they are the authors. And second book, J.C. Francis D. Kim, entitled Modern Portfolio Theory, Foundations, Analysis and New Developments. Publisher is John Wiley & Sons, a very popular and well-known publisher. And for practical, we use the MATLAB Financial Toolbox User Guide. Okay, so these three will be our reference. Okay, there are other books. If you are interested, you can refer. Now, all these books as well as the user guide of MATLAB Toolbox available in soft copy, and I have uploaded already this in Team platform on the file in the our MS Team. Okay, so you can download all these ebooks, the book number 1 and 2, as well as the user guides for MATLAB Financial Toolbox. So these things are available as the ebook, so you need not to search for anything. Let me start with introduction to financial markets. What is financial market? Let me define it formally. We are not interested much in the definition, formal definitions of financial terminologies, but let me say it. A financial market is a market for creation and exchange of financial asset. So when you go to market, you buy something or somebody will sell something, because you buy something, so somebody will sell something. So financial market is a market for creation and exchange of the financial assets. If you buy or sell financial asset, you will participate in financial market in some way or other way. Okay. Financial market facilitate price discovery, provide liquidity to financial asset, and considerably reduce the cost of transacting. Why we need this particular financial market? Because it provides this advantage. It facilitates price discovery, provide liquidity to financial asset. So all buyers and sellers come on the one platform, say Bombay Stock Exchange. Bombay Stock Exchange is a one stock exchange where all buyers and sellers will come on that platform. Somebody will buy, somebody will sell. Okay. And what they are buying and selling? The stocks. They are financial assets, or options, derivatives. They are also financial assets. Okay. Also, it provides liquidity because all the stocks are listed on one exchange. So you have ample liquidity, right? All buyers and sellers are there on the exchange. So you see how many buyers and how many sellers at a time. So it provides the liquidity to the asset and considerably reduce the cost of transacting. Only you have to pay some brokerage to the firm and some taxes determined by the exchange and the government, right? So I hope you understand this basic thing. Then let me see a basic classification of financial market. We are not going in big theory, right? We just see at an introductory level. Okay. So don't go very much in deep of the finance. We just see its definition and introduction. So I hope the financial market definition is clear. Functionality is clear. Purpose is clear. That's it. Now classification. So classification depends on something. What is that? The first thing is nature of claim, right? How you claim, right, the asset that determines which kind of financial market in which you are trading. So nature of claim determines two things. Either it's a debt market or equity market. What is debt market? So debt market is a financial market for fixed claim. They are called debt instruments like bonds. You might have heard the names of bonds and debentures. They are called risk-free securities. They are called risk-free securities. They are called fixed interest. They have fixed interest associated with them. We will see later on the details of it. So if you are trading in a financial market for fixed claim, where if you purchase a bond, then there is a guarantee that you get this much percentage of interest, right? There is a guarantee, right? There is a fixed claim. When the bond mature, you will get this much amount in return. Right? That is a fixed. There is no variability. There is no risk associated with it. There are some risks we will see later on, but there are no such risk with the claim. So such markets are called debt market, and the debt market, generally debt instruments like bonds are traded. Okay. So even this exchange is allowed the trading of the bonds as well as stocks, means risky security as well as risk-free securities, right? We will see later on the exchanges later on. But understand this different. What is the debt market? Where we are trading means buying and selling the fixed income securities like the bonds. I hope this is clear. Equity market. Financial market for residual claim means equity instruments, the stocks, right? That is called equity. The stock is also called equity. And there are certain risks associated with it. Its price is not deterministic. The price is random, right? It depends on so many things. Today the stock price may be 10 rupee. Tomorrow it may be 15 rupee. It may be 5 rupee. There is no guarantee. And how it will move, that is also not guaranteed. Okay. There is no fixed maturity associated with this stock or equity, right? So such things, such securities are traded in the equity market. So nature of claim, whether it is a fixed claim or random, means the price is random, it is equity market. If the price is fixed, means maturity price is fixed, it is debt market. Okay. Then maturity of claim. Depends on maturity of claim, it is called money market or capital market. Now this is applicable only to debt market, because for equity market there is no maturity. If you purchase a stock, you can keep it for 1 day, even 1 second, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 year, 10 year, no limit. There is no fixed maturity to it, right? But when you purchase a bond, there is a maturity. Okay. So depends on maturity of claim. There are classification of market, money market and capital market. So usually the money market deals with the short-term bonds or short-term fixed maturity securities. They are less than or equal to 1 year. So if your maturity is less than or equal to 1 year for bond, they are traded in money market, right? You are trading in money market related to short-term debt instrument. And if it is greater than 1 year, long-term financial claims, then you are dealing with capital market, right? And long-term debt instrument and equity instrument, right? Like long-term bonds, they are traded in the capital market. Okay. Then the next classification is seasoning of claim, primary market or secondary market. Now today there is huge boom in the primary market. Can anybody tell me what is primary market? I need some input from you. What is primary market?
The
Today
IPO.
this is, yeah.
The IPOs, basically
Right.
they're coming directly. Yeah.
Okay. When the company wants to list on some exchange, it brings the initial public offer, or already listed company want to bring more equity in market, they bring FPO further, right? F means further, public offer or further offer. It brings FPO. Sometimes they also bring right issue. So this kind of things are traded in primary market. So IPO is a good example. When company want to list on the exchange, they bring this kind of things in primary market. So initially subscriber will subscribe based on the given price, and then it is listed on exchange, and then it will be traded on a secondary market. So in secondary market, already listed securities are trading, not only stocks, but options, bonds, all things are traded on the secondary market. For bonds also, there may be initial public offerings, right? So initially the bond, say HUDCO is a government company, frequently issue the bonds because they need some money to build the houses. It is HUDCO means Housing and Urban Development Corporation of India, right? You might have heard this name HUDCO. I'm okay.
Yes, sir.
You go through that site of
Yes,
the HUDCO, you will find too many bonds. They will frequently bring the issue of these bonds. People invest in that and they provide some fixed interest on it, right? Some bonds are tax free, some are taxable. There are so many kinds of bonds, short term, long term, that we will see later on. But they will come in primary market. Like IPO, we have seen the very recent examples of the double listings of the some companies like GR Infra, then Zomato, right? And all these things we have seen, they are all in the primary market. Then once the IPO will come, security listed, they traded in the secondary market. So remember, they can be classified either as the primary or secondary market. So new claims, right? Issuers sell new claims in the primary market and investor trade the outstanding security in the secondary market. Then next classification based on the timing of delivery, means it is a cash or spot market. or it can be forward or future market. Now see, when you trade the stock has its price, the moment price, this current price or the spot price, which is just applicable at this moment only, right? If you purchase this stock at this moment, you are purchasing in a cash market, right? Or spot market. You are purchasing on a spot price. अभी क्या है? Tata Steel कितना है? 1400 ले लो, ठीक है, right? So that is a spot price. So you are purchasing in a cash market. But there are other ways to purchase this same stock in a future or forward market. Can anybody tell me what is future or forward market? We are purchasing same stock, but not at the spot price, but at the future price. So we are purchasing some future or option. Option means either you can purchase at the higher value, or you purchase the option of higher value or lower value, right? There are so many options, right? In future, okay, I will want to purchase Tata Steel's, say spot price is 1400. I want to purchase the 1500 future price or 1300 future price. So you are purchasing contract, right? Future contract. So there are two different ways. Either a cash purchase means you are dealing in a cash market, or you are dealing in a forward or future market where you are purchasing the forwards and futures or contracts, right? So remember this difference. The delivery occurs immediately in case of this cash market. It depends on the spot price. While in case of the forward and future, you are paying only premium today, right? And actual payment will occur in a future. But you are taking this contract today. Okay, my prediction, Tata Steel will increase. Let I buy 1500 future. Okay, so I will pay the premium of that today, and then in future at that date, if the price will at that time, I will get whatever be the gain at that date. Okay, so I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then last classification is the exchange traded market or over the counter market. So exchange traded market, what we are doing is exchange traded, right? Because we always trade on NSE or BSE, either stock or bond or derivative. So it is characterized by centralized organization with standardized procedure. We have to follow the standard protocol, right? We cannot have our own rules when we deal or when we trade or invest in the stock market, right? So there are some central rules, right, and standardized procedure. But there are some other way also. Over the counter market, it is a decentralized market with customized procedure. We cannot do this, right? There are some bulk dealing happening. You might have heard this name, bulk dealing. Have you heard this name?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That will happen over the counter, right? So two big companies can do this over the counter trade. They can do over the counter trade. Okay, say some company want to increase their stake in Zomato. So in bulk, they will buy the stock of Zomato. They found that, okay, future of this company is very bright. I don't want to buy it through the market, but I want to do over the counter. I want to do the over the counter trade. So they do the bulk dealing, right? So that is possible. But in that case, there are some insider trading and something will there, which is very dangerous kind of thing, right? So beware of such kind of things, right? So there are some malfunctioning also possible over the counter market. So you can go on internet and you can search which is the last incidence of the insider trading in the well-known company. Can anybody tell me? Or if you don't know, you can go through internet and you can search on it. Adani, right? It was not actually insider trading, but there was some issues in its financials. It was not insider trading. Insider trading was there in the very well-known company done by its employee very recently. You just search on internet, you will find it's a very well-known company related to your field.
Infosys.
I am not giving name. Yeah, sure. Good. Okay. It's good that you are keeping the track of the current things. Then we have seen the financial markets and classification. Now we see financial instruments and classification, because instruments are traded in the market. Okay. So financial instruments are assets a potential investor would consider as a part of his portfolio. So first of all, we understand what is meaning of investor. Investor doesn't mean you and me. So it can be any person or it can be entity. So even some entity like trust, right? Banks, they can also be an investor. So it can be a person or entity. You can frame HUF, Hindu Undivided Family. So that HUF becomes one entity. Whole family can merge into one entity and they can also become an investor, right? So a person, entity like a corporation, a pension fund, a country, even a country itself can be investor. You might have heard the name of FIIs. What is full form of FII?
Foreign institutional investors.
Foreign institutional investors. They are not any individual investor. They belongs to some foreign country, and they are institutional investors, right? So they are investing in our country, in our country's company, like say Reliance. They are investing in our companies, okay? But they are belongs to some foreign country, and they are not individual investor. They are institutional investor, right? So some foreign trust or banks or some foreign companies or even the government, foreign government are investing in some our country's firms, right? So investor is a very general name, and the investor can be a trader. Now this difference is very much required. An agent, a financial investor. Investor is a very general name. Trader usually applied to the investor who do a very short-term investment, who buy today, sell tomorrow, or buy today and sell today itself at the afternoon or evening, right? So they are called trader. The trading frequency is very high. So they are called trader usually. They are not called investor. So trader is also one kind of investor. We say very short-term investor. So that trader term is slightly different, but we call the trader also as an investor in general. But the trader invests for very short term usually. Agent, like a broker, is also investor because it facilitates you. So he has also invested something, right? So agent is also one kind of investor. And financial investor, we want to create our long-term portfolios. I want to do retirement planning, so I want to purchase good companies share at cheap price. So let I purchase Reliance, Tata Steel, the Infosys, like some companies at some cheap price, and keep accumulating it and keep it for long term. Invest my money for long term in it and create a portfolio and then create a long term wealth. So that kind of persons are financial investor. Even individual can do it, or entity also can do it, or even country can also do it. Okay. So financial instruments are traded in financial markets. Now these financial instruments are basically also classified in two categories: the financial security and financial contract. The contracts are not actual asset. Remember, they are not actual security, right? They are derived. They are derived. And financial security, yes, they are actual security. So the security is a document that confers upon its owner a financial claim, while a financial contract links to parties nominally and not through the ownership of a document. So remember this difference. When you trade in a cash market, you are owner of that stock. But when you trade in an option market, you are not owner of that stock. I hope it is clear. Right? Because when you buy option, you are buying contract. So it just abide to parties. Okay, you have no ownership claim. While when you buy the stock, yeah, you are owner of that company up to the extent of your share. I hope it is clear. So the securities and contracts, we can say basic securities, and we can have another class of derivatives and contracts. We will touch this derivatives only in the last unit. It's very complicated analysis. Okay. And basic securities, as I indicated or informed, fixed income like bonds or bank accounts, fixed deposits, right? They are fixed income. Equities like stocks, they are basic securities. They involve the ownership. While derivatives like options, there are call options, put options. We will go in detail later on. Exotic options, swaps, right? It is one step above these options, swaps, and futures and forwards. These all are derivatives and contracts where there is no exclusive ownership. Okay. So I hope this is clear. So far, if any question, you can ask me.
Sir, the prerequisite of this course.
Yeah, your voice is not coming, cracking. Please repeat your question.
Sir, what are the prerequisites of this course?
Yeah, prerequisite of this course. is basic calculus, probability and statistics up to some extent, okay, and linear algebra. Need not to know finance or economics at all. Whatever we are learning in our slide related to finance and economics, that's okay. So today we have completed this overview of this financial kind of terminologies. Now next time when we will see this fixed income securities and interest rate, we briefly see what is fixed income security, and then we come to its mathematics, and then we come to the modeling. So linear algebra, calculus, and the probability statistics. These are the prerequisite. And of course, for practical, you need to know the MATLAB programming that we have learned in the DSP. So we'll relate this to signal processing also. There are so many things of this financial system can be related to the signal processing. And now the financial engineering is also called financial signal processing, or sometimes called financial system analysis. So signal system, digital signal processing, the concept there you can apply here also. That relation also we will see. We can apply the filters when we see the chart patterns. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other doubt? Okay, so now please go through my slide of this module, right, which I will upload. Already I have uploaded all the ebooks that I mentioned, right, like this too. Also, I have uploaded this MATLAB user toolbox PDF file, so that also you can refer. I uploaded the course handout, right? So where the syllabus and the how we proceed to complete the syllabus, that also is there, right? And other information is there, so you can refer to them. Also, the list of experiments, course objectives, all things are there, so you can refer to it. Okay. And then when we come to next lecture tomorrow, we will start exactly with the fixed income security in this unit, and then we go to the risky security in this unit itself, right? And we model it and how to optimize the portfolio which has the risky as well as risk-free security in combination, right? Where we need to use the linear algebra concept and the calculus. Any other doubt? All right, so let me now stop here.